This diagram is eventually an economy curve where they have a little bit difference with our mathematics, where their y-axis is the manipulated variables and their x-axis is the responding variables. So they tell us that the pink color curve showing us a consumer demand curve along the price. When the price is low, the demand is eventually a lot. When the price is getting higher and higher, you see less and less demand. But the thing here is, this will be our maximum price that the consumer willing to pay. Next, the blue color curve shows us the producer supply curve. This is the quantity of stocks that they manufactures. Can you see that when the price is low, the demand is actually greater than the manufacturers. So this is why we say that it's lacking of stock, because the price is lower than whatever they're supposed to be. At one point, this is what we call as a price equilibrium, where the demand is eventually same as the supply. It means that if the manufacturer supply 50 stocks, it will be bought by 50 customers. Means that they are ready customer to buy all of the stocks. And meanwhile, when you go up a little bit, can you see that? Now the stock is a lot, but consumer is less because the price is too expensive. So now we're going to look at region M. They say region M is the consumer surplus. Consumer surplus means that if the equilibrium price is 50 ringgit, so it means that 50 ringgit is the market price, and now you're willing to pay 70 ringgit for it. So the additional 20 ringgit premium is what we call as the consumer surplus. It's the price that you're willing to pay more. Meanwhile, they say N color regions is the producer surplus. So producer surplus means that if this one is the minimum price the producer willing to sell to you, let's say it's a cost price. So let's say the cost is 10 ringgit. The cost price is 10 ringgit. But they're going to sell you maybe at 40 ringgit. So the extra 30 ringgit that they earn is what we call as the producer surplus. Means that they wouldn't be lost. They still earn 30 ringgit is what we call as the producer surplus. Now they ask us to find the equilibrium point P. We see that whenever we have the intersection between the 2 points, we can just do the simultaneous between the equation of 2 curves. Because why? They will have the same x and y value. So now we're going to plug in the 2 equations and do simultaneous for left and right. We will move whatever left to the right is because here we have the higher coefficient for x squared. So when I move this one to the right hand side, 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared, which still have a positive value for x squared. Less hassle will be factorized. So after we factorize, we will have x plus 6, x minus 1. If you don't know how to factorize, just remember you can use the cross method like this to do your factorizations. Then after factorize, we have x plus 6 equals 0 or x minus 1 is equal to 0. And we solve for x. Since our P is in the positive x regions, so we know our x must be positive, which is 1. How to find our y value is, since both of the curve have the same value for point P, we can substitute x equal to 1 into either one of the equations. So let's say I choose this one. We have 1 minus 4 squared, which is negative 3 squared, which is 9. So my y value would be 9. Or I can also plug into these equations, 3x squared plus 2x plus 4. In the end, I also have 9. So indeed, P is 1, 9. Now we're done for question A. We look for question B. Question B, they ask to find the consumer surplus, which is eventually represented by the M color regions at the equilibrium point P. So it means that we want to find the area of these regions. But how do we find it is, we're going to find the area bounded to the x-axis first, go all the way down. But is there anybody blocking you? Yes. Eventually we can see that this box is, the rectangular is blocking us from going to the x-axis. So we're going to remove these rectangles. But before that, we need to know what is the point of the region first, because they said that point P. But we know point P has a x value of 1. So we can now jot down that this is 1 first, and this is 9. This is the information that we get it from previous answer. And now, since we say that somebody is blocking us, and that is the rectangle is blocking us. So the idea is, we're going to find the area under the red curve, and then minus off the rectangular. Because the area under the red curve is everything here, and if I minus the rectangular, I will left with only the M color regions. So again, how to find the area under the red curve? We can just do the integration from 0 to 1 that bounded to the x-axis. But what is the y in the middle? the y is eventually the curve of the demand curve, which is the red color curve. What's the dimension of the rectangular? Of course, this is 1. And how tall is it? It's 9. So 1 times 9 is the area of the rectangles. So we substitute our dx is eventually x squared minus x plus 16 dx. Since this is x, and we are integrating with respect to x, now we are good to go to integrations. So increase the power by 1, divided by new power, same thing for everything here. Plus, if you have a constant, match up with the variable, we have 16x. And don't forget the limit is from 0 to 1, like this. Then the rest is we're going to substitute the upper limit minus the lower limit, like this. Why is it we don't need to minus lower limit? It's because when we put in 0, everything become 0. So eventually just minus 0, so we can just skip that part. So this have the upper limit minus the rectangle. So now we have the area of M must be same as 10 over 3 unit square after you plug into your calculators. Then we are done. So this is eventually 10 over 3 unit square. Next, we're going to look at question C. They say the producer surplus at the equilibrium point P. The producer surplus is represented by the N color regions. So this one, can you see that? Only this part is the one we want to find. Can you see that the N color regions is eventually inside the rectangles? So we can use the area of a rectangle minus off the area under the blue color curve here. We take the area of rectangle minus the area under the curve. So that's our idea first. Because this rectangle is now everything, include the N color regions. In order to get the N color region only, we're going to minus off the area under the curve here. So the idea is area of rectangle minus the area under the blue curve. Rectangle is same again, it's just 1 times 9. But the area under the curve is bounded to the x-axis. So integrating with respect to x-axis. But what curve is that? That curve is for the supply curve, which is s of x. Then we substitute the x of x into 3x squared plus 2x plus 4. And now we're good to go for the integrations like usual. Power increased by 1 divided by the new power for every of the terms in the equations. And we take the upper limit minus the lower limit. This is why you have something like this. Again, lower limit is because this is 0. So it will be minus 0 and the n is also 0. And if you put into calculator like this, then we have an answer of 9 minus 6, which is 3 unit square as our final answer, and we are done for these questions. The diagram on the right shows a part of the curve. The pink color one have the equation of 4x is equal to 4 minus y squared, and the blue color straight line have the equation of 3y is equivalent to 18 plus 2x, and they intersect at point P. In order to find the intersections, we know we just need to use simultaneous. So we're going to find first what is x from here, and then plug into the second equation. Just the normal simultaneous. So we're going to move 18 go to the left hand side. We have 3y minus 18 go to 2x. Then we have x is equal to 3y minus 18 over 2. After we found our x, we're going to substitute into the second equations. So for bracket, our x is now 3y minus 18 over 2. Then we're going to do the simplifications. Then we're going to move everything to the left hand side so that our y squared we have a positive value. But before this, we're going to expand this one first. We have 6y minus 36. And move everything to the left because usually we will move so that our x squared have the positive coefficient. After we move, and now we can just simplify one more time again, group the like terms. Negative 36 minus 4 is minus 40. And now we can just do the finding the roots. We have the y squared, 6y and minus 40, y and y, 10 and 4. And must be one positive, one negative. So this is how we get our roots is equal to negative 10 or y equal to 4. We pick y equal to 4 is because so obvious that our point P is above the x-axis. It's in the positive y value regions. Now we found out what is the y coordinate for P, which is 4. How to find out the x? Since this is simultaneous, we can just substitute back our y into the equation that we found just now. So we can say that x is equivalent to 3 times 4 minus 80 because y equal to 4. And if you solve this one, we found out that our x is equal to negative 3. Then we can say that my p is eventually has the coordinate of negative 3, 4, like this. Then we are done for question A. So this is my P value, we put it aside first. Now we're going to look at question B, which is calculate the area of shaded region A. So A is basically bounded here. First, we need to know where are the boundaries first. So we know coordinate of P is -3, 4. So now we can shade it -3 and 4. So region A is eventually break down to two parts. As we can see here, the first part here is just a triangle, and the second part is basically the curve. So now we can say that the first part is the area of rectangles, and the second part is the region which is the curve regions. So we can take it out and sum up together, and now we have the total area of the shaded region A. So these triangles is basically 3 units, right? Because -3 to 0 is basically 3 units. So we can say that they have the base length of 3. How about the height? So the height is the one we want to find. We need to know what is the coordinate here first. This is basically the y-intercept of the straight line. Y-intercept, x must be 0. So 3y is equivalent to 18, y is equivalent to 6. Then we know here must be equivalent to 6. So 4 to 6 we know is 2 units. So we know the height of the triangle is going to be 2 units. How to find the regions of the yellow color curve here? I mean basically here. So basically we just need to bound it to the y-axis. From the curve bound to the y-axis. Now we need to find out what is the y-intercept of this curve first. Y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So when x equals 0, we have 4 minus y squared. So y squared equal to 4, y is equivalent to plus or minus square root of 4, which is 2. Since this is upper region, so this must be 2. So we know this must be from 2 to 4. So we say that this curve is from 2 to 4, bounded to the y-axis. Remember, when they bound to the y-axis, in the middle must be x. Then we can proceed. Area of the triangle is just 1/2 times base times height. This is how we get 3 units square. This one, what is our x? So don't forget, this is the equation of the curve. We have 4x is equivalent to 4 minus y squared. So we want to find x first. X is going to be 4 divided by 4 is 1. Y squared divided by 4 is just y squared over 4. Or we can just combine together, say that 4 minus y squared over 4 also will do. So we're going to substitute in like this. We're going to take the 1/4 out so it's easier for us to do. So that we have 4 minus y squared. Because 1/4 is a constant. Just remember that when we have a over 2, we can write that as 1/2a. It's basically the same thing. Since now we are integrating with respect to y, and we have y variable left. So we can carry on with the integrations. 1/4, 4 become 4y, power increased by 1 and divided by the new power. But don't forget the limit is 2 to 4. So this is why we have something like this. And after that, we just substitute the upper limit minus the lower limit. Then we use the calculator to find out the answer. And lastly, we have the answer has a negative. Why is it the answer is a negative? Because when we bounded to the y-axis, remember we said that right hand side will give you the positive answer, whatever to the left hand side of your y-axis giving us the negative answer. But since we know area has no negative, so we're going to put a modulus to make it to become a positive answer. So after you compute, we have 8/3 units square. But this is not the shaded region A, because why? This is only for the curve. So we're going to add with the triangles to get the entire regions, which is 17/3 units square, and we are done for question B. Now we're going to look at question C. Question C, they ask us to find the generated volume in terms of pi when the shaded region B is rotated 360 degrees above the x-axis. So it means that they're going to rotate for the entire shaded region of B into the x-axis. It means that they're going down 360 degree spin. When they spin, you have something like this. So we want to find the volume of this solid. So how do we find? First, we need to know what are the limit first. So just now, they are spinning from -3 to 0. So I can say that the boundary is from -3 to 0. And they're going to rotate about which axis? X-axis. So this must be dx. And remember that if dx, we want to know what is the area of the circles. It's going to be pi r squared. But what is the r? The r will depends on the y value of the functions. So become pi y squared. So we have pi y squared like this. So pi y squared dx. But what is our y squared? We're going to know from the equations, which is the curve, we have 4x is equal to 4 minus y squared. In order to find y squared, we move the minus y squared, go to left hand side, we have positive y squared. We move the 4x to right hand side, become 4 minus 4x. So now we can proceed. So we take out the pi first because pi is a constant. So we take out the pi. Then after that, substitute our y squared with 4 minus 4x. Since now we left with x and integrating with respect to x, we are good to go. So 4x minus 4x squared over 2, the limit is going to be from negative 3 to 0. So this is why we have something like this. And now we can just compute by using the upper limit minus the lower limit like this. If you punch into your calculators, then you will have the answer of 0 minus negative 30, which in the end you have 30 pi unit cube, and you are done. Hey, if you have any questions or would like to see any kind of video, do leave your comments below and let me know. If you want to support us so that we could make more videos like this, the simplest way is just by sharing the video with your friends. Click the like buttons and consider subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.